Hello guys, so today what we're going to do is we are going to actually start building our geological timescale. So if we go back to our assignment, okay, and I'll just use for example like Henry's here. When we clicked on this, we did the last of all of the activities this past week on Tuesday. So for example, we're going to come all the way down here to where we see this image right here, this geological timescale. Now, I am not going to be there tomorrow, so there's two options that you have. You can either do, for example, the geological timescale on this, all right, which is the online version. This would be helpful for people who, for example, may need some assistance with typing, or maybe, for example, you'd like to have that, it all laid out. But you will need to know some shortcuts in order to do the online version. The online version also has everything available for you. All you have to know how to do is just cut and paste, which I will show you how to do this. All right. So the next thing that I would like to do is show you that if you look here, there is a geological timescale reference table. We need to be using this, and what I suggest doing is going to the Precambrian section. This is the oldest time period, all right, the oldest era. This is when, for example, fossils were very rare. They were prokaryotes on the planet 3.5 billion years ago. Photosynthetic organisms started to appear, and multicellular organisms started to appear. Life only existed in the seas. So as we, for example, start with the oldest, we will build our way to the newest. So for example, if we look here at this geological timescale, we see Precambrian, all right? And so clearly there were, for example, no periods in the Precambrian. Okay, so no periods during this Precambrian time frame. However, there were some millions of years ago that kind of popped up. So if we come back up to this, it says here fossils were extremely rare. Anaerobic heterotrophic prokaryotes were 3.5 billion years ago. So they're the oldest that we see in this era. So we're going to look for prokaryotes. So if we come over here, all right, to this slide, which is technically just down a little bit further, you guys can see this, it's down here, okay, we will find the slide that says, something about the first prokaryotes. So here is that slide, okay. So I'm actually going to demonstrate this on here, on this one. I'm going to find that, first prokaryote, and right here. Here it is. All right. I'm going to copy this, and then I'm going to paste it directly to this location here. Okay. So if you're doing this online, you can follow me to see how I do this. So I'm going to go ahead and do Control X. And you might think, oh no, it disappeared. What am I going to do? Well, just go back up to the area that you were at. Okay, it's this first part right here, and do Control V. All right, so now it's there. We just got to drag it up like we did the last couple of times. So this might just take a little while. And as you do this, you're just going to build it as you go. Lay it right over that square, and you're good to go. You can title this right here, 3.5 billion years ago, all right? And you're good to go there, all right? The next one is the photosynthetic prokaryotes, and that's 3 billion years ago. So the photosynthetic prokaryotes, all right? So first, photosynthesis, all right here, this guy, little one right there. So if we come down here, all right, We're looking for the first photosynthetic prokaryote, okay? And I just saw it right there, okay? I do want to mention, actually, that I completely forgot one now that I'm looking at it. It's the formation of the Earth. So technically, this is going to be your first one. So we'll go back up. And we will actually put that one right here. So I'm going to move this guy down. And this is going to be 3.5 billion years ago. And this one right here is going to be 4.6 billion years ago. This is actually, I forgot, this is million years ago. We'll slide this guy right over the top like so. And then we'll go back down to our first prokaryote that can do photosynthesis. Remember that photosynthesis is the process by which plants make their own sugars, where they make their own sugars. Very important, because if you can't make your own food during this time period, you're not going to be able to survive. And so that came in like right here, okay? So we're going to type in what we found out about that. That was 3 billion years ago. Okay, so 3 billion years ago. I'm going to go back up here and change this to B. I'm not sure why I said that earlier. All right, and so as you can see here, all we're doing is we're just building from this. So 3.5, 3, the next is the first eukaryotic cell, that's at 2. And as you go through this and build this, okay, these different images should go in chronological order. If you come to something that you're not entirely sure, check the reference table and make sure you're doing it right, okay? Now, I'm going to have a paper version, so if you do want to do this on paper, you can do this on paper, but you're not going to be required to if you want to do it online. Again, to cut things, all right, I'll just go ahead and review that, all right, come back down here. If you click on the image, you hit Control X, that cuts it, and then you do Control V, and that pastes it right there. I find this to be very useful because if you cut all of your images from this slide, which is slide 12, and you put them back on either slide 11 or slide 10, it's going to make it a lot easier. You're going to know what you've used and what you have not used. Okay? So, if you have any questions, please ask other people sitting around you. If for some unknown reason you are completely lost with what's going on, you can just go ahead and color these different pictures of different things and see if you can go through here and identify which thing happened first, second, or third. Okay, so like for example, I just went ahead and I'll go ahead and do that really quick. So we first said on this one that the formation of the Earth was number 1. This was the first thing that occurred. Okay, going back up here, the second thing that occurred was the first prokaryotes. All right, the third thing that occurred was the photosynthetic organisms, and we just kind of work our way all the way to the end. Remember that like one of the last things that occurs is the development of humans, okay? So if we, for example, look for that, humans and like where like the humans are, right here, first humans, this should be towards the end, okay? And that would be towards the end basically based on the fact that it's in the Quaternary period or the Cenozoic era. Okay, same kind of thing. All right. So this is a good little tool. This is a good little lab to kind of help see if you're understanding how things are being put together, what things are older than others. Remember that if you're down here in the Quaternary, that's a younger time period. We're in the Cenozoic era right now, and the oldest era was the Precambrian, and it accounted for the majority of the amount of time, okay? And most of the Earth at that time was just an open ocean with like single-celled organisms floating around in it. And we know this, again, all this is based on the fact that we have evidence through fossilization, okay? And we can use two techniques: radioactive dating, which is very accurate, very mathematical, and then we have relative dating, which is a tool that we can use to give an estimation to a certain age of organisms. Next year, I'm going to show you how relative dating isn't the best form of evidence always, because the Earth is constantly changing. And since the Earth is constantly changing, things can be disrupted. All right? So, if you guys have any questions, please let me know. In an email, I'll be available. Or you can just meet me on Friday. All right? I will see you then. Bye.